Thanks for sharing earlier, Dr. Ho, and I think it's really enlightening and interesting to know the symbiotic relationship between hearing loss and cognitive decline. And this actually reminds me of my own personal story of my grandmother, and my grand uncle. Yeah, so fortunately, we could notice the symptoms of my grandmother's hearing loss quite early. So we actually got her fitted with hearing aids around the age of 65, before 70 for sure. And thankfully, up till now, she was able to really use the hearing aids well and communicate very effectively with us. But conversely, I think about my grand uncle. He took quite a long time to decide whether he wants to wear hearing aids. And I think at that point of time where he finally want or agreed to wear hearing aids, right, that was when he also had slight dementia. And I can't help but think, right, like, I could see that the impact and the benefits are not as great as how I could tell from my grandmother.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, April. And I think the story about your grand uncle is unfortunately a story that is being repeated in so many families every day. And really, what we hope to see are the happy stories about your grandmother, about getting the hearing loss treated early.
Yeah. So, Dr. Ho, how do we then decide when and what are the best options to manage hearing loss today?
Okay, I think it's a great question, right? In my humble opinion, right, I really think that we need to go beyond just looking at the pure tone audiogram.
Okay.
Because the truth is, the pure tone audiogram just tells us that for each ear, for each frequency that we test, how loud it has to be before you could hear that tone, right? It doesn't tell us anything about how the patient function in the real world, how much the patient is able to understand what someone else is saying.
That's true.
Yeah, when it's quiet,
Yeah.
let alone when it's noisy, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And beyond that, what is the impact of the hearing loss on that individual's quality of life?
Right.
Is there any disability? Is there any handicap?
That's right.
And the great thing about modern audiology practice is that all of these are measurable.
That's right.
Right? We can do speech tests in quiet and also speech in noise. And there are also many different sort of questionnaires that you can use to measure the hearing disability and handicap beyond just the hearing impairment.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
In fact, even during history taking,
Yeah.
I remember, as clinical audiologists, often we ask questions to have a better understanding of how, the patient is going on. You'll find that even those with mild hearing losses, they actually find a lot of challenges. They struggle to understand conversations in meetings and in noisy environments.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's important to highlight the fact that, it's not just the PTA, the pure tone audiogram results, but it's all these things that we can gather more information so that the earlier we act, the better the outcomes will be.
Yeah, I agree, April. When you treat the patient and the family, you always win.
Yeah.
When you treat a piece of paper, the results on the piece of paper, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, right? And as we know, the best treatment for hearing loss is the use of good quality hearing aids. But again, we need to have perhaps a paradigm shift and to look at the hearing aids not as the end point. You fit hearing aids, that's it, your hearing loss is treated, because patients tend to wait too long, right? And really, the hearing aid is only the beginning of the treatment journey for the hearing loss, right? And it's about the oral rehabilitation process. And together with the good quality hearing aids, what we need are good quality hearing professionals like yourself, audiologists, and other professionals who can educate, counsel, guide, hold their hands sometimes, and not just then, but to involve the family, troubleshoot for them once the hearing aid is fitted, tune the hearing aid. So I think it's a process, and it's not just a one-stop hearing aid that solves all the problem. We need to move beyond that way of thinking.
Absolutely right. I think hearing aids are not just an end point to it. It's the beginning of the whole journey, which involves hearing care professionals and audiologists to, involve them and guide them through using the hearing aids and optimizing them and the whole oral rehabilitation process.